You know, we talk about side hustles all the time, but also about doing what you love, right? About spending time on those things that you really love. And three people who enjoy spending time together all work together. And they have this incredible story about their project, which is a great podcast that has been around for a year called the Fat and Broke podcast, where they talk about a lot of different things. But I love seeing the creativity. I love the getting together with friends, holding yourself accountable. There's so many lessons, but well, you'll hear it yourself. And here they come down to the basement. My new friends, Sarah, Gary, and Peter are here. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
Great.
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. How are you?
All right. Well, I'm great and I'll tell you why I'm great, but because you're podcasters and we can nerd out about this. And what most people don't know is before we hit record, we were already nerding out about some podcast goodness, but also we're going to talk about your milestone here in a minute. But just so everybody knows whose voice is whose, let's say hi to each individually. So who's Gary?
I'm Gary.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, everybody. Yes. I'm the one. I listen to your show all the time. I've listened for years. I've been so pumped for this interview. My wife makes fun of me. Sarah's making fun of me. Everybody's making fun of me. They're like, "Are you totally nerding out on this?" I said, "Yes." Like I'm totally nerding out. And
Gary.
Yeah, I'm total fanboy. So I'm super excited to be in Mom's basement.
That's awesome. And Peter and Sarah, like, really, Mom's basement. We're doing what?
Yeah, right. They're like, where are you?
What is
taking
actually
us?
happening, Gary?
Yeah, what is happening? Yeah, what is going on? And the basement is way nicer than I ever imagined it would be.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the track lighting I think makes it a little better, but it's beautiful. It is brighter now than it used to be. And then
definitely.
And then because I think we'll be able to guess which voice is Sarah's, and then we got Peter.
Hello, friends. How you doing?
So glad you're here with us. And then Sarah.
Hi.
So Sarah,
that's obvious. She's definitely Sarah.
Yeah, that's me.
So the Fat and Broke podcast, 100 episodes is what we're celebrating tonight. I need, let's see if I've got nope, that's not that button. Which button? Do I have a button? I don't know if I have a button. Maybe I don't have a button, but 100 episodes. Let's talk about how you started, because that's such a huge accomplishment. So Sarah, how did the three of you get together?
So I'm actually going to let Gary answer this because I actually didn't remember how I became part of the podcast today.
Sarah accidentally became part of it.
It was an accident.
I was going to say, that sounds horrible. Like, you know, I was drunk and all of a sudden there's a microphone in front of us all. And
that's basically how it happened. Yeah. So it originally actually started as a blog. It was called Getting Fat, Going Broke. Peter and I've always wanted to do a blog or a podcast. I've been talking about it for years. And then I actually got COVID, a couple years ago. And I had like a 2-week sort of vacation from home. And I was talking about it with my wife. And she said, "Listen, I'm sick of listening to you talk about wanting to do this blog thing of yours. Can you just do it? You're going to be home for 2 weeks. Like, shut up and just do the thing." And so I started doing that, and I talked to Peter, who he and I are colleagues, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this thing with me? We're going to talk about money, health, wellness. We're going to do all these things. Do you want to do this with me?" And he's like, "Absolutely." And so we started as a blog, and then a few months in, we were like, "You know what? Like, it's fun to write, but we talk really well. So why don't we just switch into more of a podcast?
We're much better talkers.
We're much better talkers. It takes less time.
Yes,
the blogging can take a lot of time." And then the way Sarah got involved was the first episode when Peter and I got together. She just sort of showed up. Just at the house. She was just here. She was literally sitting on the floor, kind of right where we are now, and she just watched us do it. But we noticed that we constantly were looking to Sarah for reactions. We're like, "Is this good? Are we funny? Or is this, is it interesting? What does she think of this?" And as we went along and we noticed that we were doing that, at the end of it, we were like, "You know what? We think we need you on the show. You kind of complete the three of us. Like, we need that person. We need a voice. Plus, like, who the hell wants to listen to Peter and I all the time?"
It's true.
Like, especially talking about, like, you're talking about weight loss and stuff, and they're like, "Who are these two a-holes?" Yeah. Like, Sarah's the voice of reason.
Wait,
yeah, I'm here for entertainment purposes.
Did that story just end with "you complete me"? Like Jerry Maguire?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want us to do like heart hands? We can do like heart hands. Yeah. So basically, Sarah completes us, and
Yeah.
without Sarah, we never would have made it to 100 episodes. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. I asked them today. I'm like, why was I sitting on a table in the room in the first place? Like, why was I even here?
So Sarah's our coworker. We all work together, and we've been working together for years, and so we have like a great chemistry. We have a lot of fun together where we work, and so it just was a natural fit. She fit right into the two of us, and we haven't looked back since then.
You can hear it in the show, Peter. I mean, you guys can hear that you're having a good time, which, as you know, is pretty important because what do they say? The average episode, or the average podcast lasts 7 episodes, and then people run out. So I guess I'll stick with you, Peter. What's been the key to making it 100 episodes with these two yahoos?
I think that's a good description
That's a
of us too.
perfect description. Yeah.
So, in my opinion, it's because so 3 people that really like each other genuinely. We always have a good time when we're with each other, and so it's never forced. It's always genuine. We always have things to talk about, and so it's just a very natural thing to come together. And I think, from a consistency perspective, I think it's rare to have 3 people that are willing to just show up every single week without fail.
Agreed.
And basically, I look at it like, we just have never stopped, and so it's just kind of kept going for a year, and now here we are 100 episodes later.
That's fantastic. Sarah, of those 100 episodes, which ones would you say are some of your favorites?
So there's one called I Hate Me. It's episode 39, and it's obviously my favorite because I hate compliments and positive reinforcement. So it's about the things we hate about ourselves and whether we should change them or not.
Wow.
And I think it's honestly one of our most honest and raw episodes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
also one of my favorites.
Do you find, though, that your favorite episodes are the most downloaded?
No.
So what's weird is we don't really look at downloads a lot. We almost intentionally never did that from the beginning. We were worried about getting, one of our shows is called The 5 Fears of Podcasting. And one of the fears was that nobody would listen. So we've kind of tried to avoid really focusing on that so that we wouldn't get discouraged and we would just keep going because we love to do it.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun and we love doing it together. And so, I don't know. I don't even actually know what is our most downloaded.
So I don't either.
I don't either.
I'll add to that a little bit. So I think to add on to Gary's point, it's basically, it was never about how many people are listening. It was never about, are we going to make money from this? It was never about, are we going to be internet famous? None of that matters. All that matters is that we're with each other, we're having fun, and we're talking about things that we care about. And I think we've been pretty successful so far at having that be true, which is why I think we've continued to come.
Now, that being said, if somebody wants to pay us, we are not going to stop you.
Yeah. But that was never the point.
That was never. It wasn't the point, and we certainly understand that. Sustainability wise, and taking time away from our family and doing other things everything. You have Paula Pant on all the time,
sure.
And she talks about how if you take from one thing, if you're doing one thing, you're taking from somewhere else, right? Whether it's money, time, or whatever. And that message is so clear. So for all of us, we've been really aware of that. Of if we're doing this, we're taking time away from our family or from work or from something else. And so at some point, we'll probably have to start paying attention to that. Are we able to, make some money off this? Are we able to sustain this at the rate that we're going? But for right now, we love to do it. It's a ton of fun, as you know, Joe.
Yeah.
And we learn so much. We learn from people every day that we don't normally, maybe wouldn't get a chance to talk to. And we love to learn stuff.
Absolutely.
And so for us, it's
a huge part of the process.
Yeah. It's like stealing knowledge. This is we should be paying other people. Don't tell. Yeah. It's I just get to have smart people on, and we learned a lot from you just before starting the show. We were picking your brain about different things about podcasting. And so there's great opportunity for us just to learn more things.
I agree.
We've also received so much positive feedback from our listeners, and the ones that we know and that we don't know. And it's just been so rewarding and genuine. It's great.
We've had positive feedback from both of our listeners too.
It's been they're both. Well, I'm one of them. Yeah.
we've gotten positive feedback from Gary and Mom. It's just amazing.
But I was going to say, you'd like to talk a lot on your show about starting with the end in mind, and I love that you talk about Stephen Covey's book a lot. You mentioned it a lot. It's a common theme throughout. And I think for us, that was part of it, right? The end wasn't, money. It wasn't, downloads. It was, can we help people? We have a lot of shared knowledge and experiences. Like, let's help people with our experiences, our own failures. Let's talk about those honestly and let people learn from the mistakes that we've made and from the things that we've learned along the way.
Right, Gary. I think that's a big deal. Like, we all genuinely, I can speak for myself and everybody here, I think we all genuinely love helping other people. And if you continue down that path, it's always going to be fun.
What do the three of you do together? I mean, you said you're all colleagues. What do you do?
So we're physical therapists. So myself and Gary are physical therapists, and then Sarah helps keep the business together by having
I'm the
patients come
office
to
bitch.
She said that.
Yeah,
Not
that
for-
was me.
I didn't say that.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
Sarah,
yeah.
you're lovely.
So Sarah basically puts up with all of our nonsense and keeps the place running. Without her, it's just a giant frat house, to
Yes.
be honest with you.
That's
And
it.
by the way,
Kinda like
people
this
can't
podcast.
people can't see that as Peter's pointing out everybody. He tells it physical therapist because he's got like the guns going.
He's
this person,
flexing
and
as he's pointing to
flexing as he-
Yeah. Listen, I constantly make fun of him on the show about his muscles, and like he'll move his pecs around when we're talking.
He'll record
it's fair.
shirtless.
Yeah, he's just shirtless in here.
So
They're
does
just
OG.
jealous, Joe. Come on.
Yes,
He's like, have you ever heard of the Liver King by any chance?
I have not, but this sounds like a story we probably can't tell on the show.
So you just look him up when you can, and that's Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my twin.
Yeah.
Yeah, OG takes the shirt off and show's over. Yeah, it gets,
Yeah, right.
It gets bad. Not great.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool is for the three of you, there's got to be some good accountability too. I would think that you guys keep each other moving right. Talk to me about accountability a little bit.
What do you think, Sarah?
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
If I didn't have them, I wouldn't be doing this. Again, I don't know how I got roped into it.
You'd still be sitting on the table, Sarah, just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, just be like, I was like, I think I have FOMO, and I was afraid of missing out on something. So here I am.
So I think for us, from an accountability perspective, we all just know that we're going to continue to show up, and that is what we expect of each other. And we have absolutely no problem calling each other out on things that need to be corrected, and it's always done in love. And so as long as we keep showing up and we keep having fun, then that's going to keep it moving forward.
And it's a little bit of practice what you preach too. So we're constantly talking on the show about people being accountable to themselves, whether it comes to weight loss, health, nutrition, money management, we talk about that quite a bit. It's, if you can't be accountable to yourself, how can you be accountable to other people? And so for us, that message of accountability, it kind of runs throughout the show.
Well, it is absolutely so fun. Let's talk about your latest episode that I just listened to. Gary, it's your local librarian. Your local library people. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so I thought they needed a shout out. First of all, those two women, Molly and Stacy, are just hilarious, great people,
yes.
And they're amazing at the library. They do amazing things for our community. And as Joe, as somebody who, you're in the financial independence community, I mean, the library is such a crucial part of that, I think, to that community, not just because you can save money on books. Like that's like you just wrote a book, like I actually have that on hold right now at the library.
Nice job. Good work.
Yeah. But you can, there's endless knowledge there. We've talked about all the different things that happen there, but it was I felt like it was an opportunity to teach others that the library is this great resource that they should support, so that the local libraries all throughout our country can continue to thrive and grow and be parts of the community. And they need our help to do that. They can't just do it without the help of the community. So it was a fun episode. They were great. They were great.
They were a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the library seems like a boring thing to talk about, but they made it a lot of fun.
No, it wasn't at all. They were hilarious. And you guys kept it entertaining. And what's great, especially now, Gary, about the library is that I've found that when we first started planning our tour, that libraries, of course, with COVID, they were off limits. But now we're planning the later stages of the tour and reaching out to libraries. And they're like, please come. Like, please, 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 please. They have these empty calendars and empty libraries, and they want to get people in there. And you're right. What a great community resource. And there's always so many educational programs.
So much. They offer so much. Yeah.
So there's the first 100 episodes. One phrase I like for podcasting that I think is good in every aspect of life. This guy who is a podcaster that I love, Roman Mars from 99% Invisible, said it to me in a group of people a few years ago. He said, and this is kind of my mantra, that he's embarrassed by the podcast he made a year ago. and he hopes like hell a year from now he's embarrassed by the podcast he's making today.
Sure, I agree with that.
Yep.
So when you and I love that growth mentality, you know, the growth feeling. But when you look at the Fat and Broke podcast growing the next 100 episodes, like, where's your focus? What are you thinking about next? And cut.
Yeah, right. Okay. I'll comment on the first part first. Is I actually had a funny conversation today with one of my patients. She said, "Oh, I started listening to your show," and I go, "Oh God, like where did you start?" And she goes, "Well, I started with number 1," and I go, "Oh,
don't."
Yeah,
I go, "Could you start with 100 and work backwards?" I go, "We were so bad. I'm sure we were horrible." I go, "I won't even listen to number 1. I'm afraid to put it on." And she's like, "Well, I thought you were good." I said, "Well, if you thought that was good, we get way better."
Yes,
I
that's
promise
right.
that we get way better.
Wait for the encore.
So where we're going, I think we just talked recently, like we feel like we're just finding our stride. We're just getting into our groove. We're really comfortable. The topics are coming easy. I think we definitely want to get into a lot more interviews. We're really enjoying that part of it, really getting to meet new people and gain that knowledge.
Well, we're getting the opportunity to interview a lot more people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think those are one of my favorite, like you said, Gary, because there's so much learning that can be done by having people on that are experts in areas that we are not. And so I think, you know, we're going to continue to look for opportunities to have, you know, as many interviews as possible and just, you know, continue to have fun.
Yeah. And I think getting out, you know, we talked about going to some of these podcast movements and some of those places in the past, but getting out into the community more and meeting more people involved in podcasting, but also involved in the things that we talk about, which is, you know, the finance, the health, the wellness, all that, all of those topics. So it'd be fun to meet more people and meet more people that can come on the show.
Well, it's so great having stackers that are doing cool stuff like you guys are doing. Fat and Broke podcast. We'll link to it in our show notes page at stackybenjamins.com, and it'll be in the 201 tomorrow, links to the show. But congratulations. It's a hell of an achievement. And
thank you.
Good luck with the
thank you
next
very much.
year and beyond.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to be
Yeah.
on your show. It's, I guess, literally like one of the most exciting things that's ever happened in my life.
That is very.
And I have two children.
that is very.
I mean, you know, hopefully they don't listen to this, but this might be ahead of that. You know,
Gary, that's so wrong.
but it might be true.
But it's accurate.
It's probably very accurate.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Joe. You're more important than Gary's kids.
Yeah. I mean, I love your show.